And where would it take me?
On.
We're hopping on the train to everything in the Harry Potter books that couldn't all be included in the films, and neither could some of the other bold choices of our favorite magical characters. Let's take a look at some of the best and most heart-wrenching deleted scenes that should have made it in the final cut. Number 1. Harry has been on the case of Voldemort since the very beginning, at least in the deleted scene scenario.
I knew the name sounded familiar. I read it on the train that day.
A young Potter becomes curious about the Sorcerer's Stone and the mysteries behind it. All of his assumptions, as we know now, were very accurate in this deleted scene. The interesting exchange between Harry and his friends may have just accelerated his journey to understanding a little too quickly for filmmakers to keep this scene in, and maybe would have helped us understand Neville's involvement with putting a stop to his friend's dangerous endeavors.
Trifficus totalis.
Number 2. Another way for Potter to feel like he's losing it is for his classmates to think he's one of the Dark Wizards. We could see why the scene wasn't added. The length of it was just too long, and the film really did a good job in showing the horrible position he was in. But wouldn't it have been interesting for us to see this for the first time, throwing us into a whirlwind of possibility as to if Harry was really attacking the other students?
Harry always seems so nice, though.
The beginning movies played a little innocently overall, and this scene would have started the mature, sinistrous nature of the series earlier than we got to experience seeing. Number 3. Another deleted scene from the Chamber of Secrets definitely would have rushed things a little earlier on. Harry definitely was onto the whole Horcrux thing.
You're telling me this now? You must be joking.
Filmmakers were so careful not to give away any hints to the folks who didn't read the books. That is why they were so careful when it came time to talk about Horcruxes. We did get a touch of it in the earlier films, but this deleted scene would have explained a lot of who Tom Riddle was, and why his diary was so significant.
Hang on, I know that name.
Number 4. The Gryffindor house was under attack in Prisoner of Azkaban, or that's what Ron thinks.
That is preposterous, Weasley.
This take was actually super informative surrounding the conflict of Sirius Black, and fills in some of the blanks regarding his character. Ron witnessed Sirius break into the Gryffindor common room and try to stab him, though probably a conversation that was too serious for all the actors to be in pajamas. Number 5. Severus Snape was always a little fishy to us in the beginning, but this deleted scene would have really made us wonder where his allegiance lied.
You don't fool me, Severus.
As shady as Igor Karkaroff was in Goblet of Fire, he did usher in a dark hint into Voldemort's return. He confronts Snape as the professor exposes the snogging teenagers in the carriages, but what they both don't realize is Harry is listening.
It's happening again, like before.
We think this scene would have unlocked Snape's plan a little too quickly, rather than the audience having the fun of figuring out his mysterious intentions throughout the whole series. It's always fun seeing Snape a little intimidated and ruining the nights of some students.
10 points from Hufflepuff for it.
Number 6. This seemed like a super humorous opportunity thrown out because of the nature of the film, with Professor Trelawney acting a fool in the Order of the Phoenix.
See all your bright, happy faces.
We never saw much of the odd professor, but when we did, we all fell in love with her character. If this moment was in the final cut, it would have given us more time with her and just a little break from the darkness that ensued. Really was a good way to support Umbridge's hatred for her too.
Something you'd like to say, dear?
Oh, there are several things I would like to say.
It's honestly just great to see a legendary actress like Emma Thompson improvise her character on screen for a lengthy couple minutes too. Number 7. The trio detective squad was on the case of Draco since the very start, and they weren't fooled by his master plan in this deleted cut from the Half-Blood Prince.
Well, then that would explain why I thought Malfoy was leaving the castle.
This one takes place right before Harry embarks on a Horcrux hunt with Dumbledore, and Harry has some very compelling statements as to why Draco vanishes from the Marauders map. He even alludes to Draco using the vanishing cabinet at Borgin and Burke's to transport in and out of the castle.
What if there are 2 vanishing cabinets?
Maybe things would have veered off the path a little, and we'd get to see a fight with the 3 of them against Draco. We think it turned out okay in the end, but who doesn't love a little magic fight? Number 8. Poor Snape. He did the unthinkable to save the world of the Dark Lord's reign and had to sacrifice more than any other character.
Avada Kedavra.
This cut was short but provided us a look into his internal monologue of hesitation and fear of what he has to do. Destroying your best friend and turning those you love against you for the greater good is not something one can just toughen up and do. We got to see how it really affected him, and the superior actor that Alan Rickman was made the scene even harder to watch. You can see the sadness in his eyes, and possibly an alternative motive behind what he was about to do. Like we said before, there were a lot of deleted moments like this that were so powerful, but might have just rushed along the mystery of the story a little too much. Number 9. One of the scenes that really hit home for a lot of Potter fans was the final farewell from Aunt Petunia in Deathly Hallows Part 1, and she wasn't in the dark on this one.
Do you think I don't know what they're capable of?
Harry and his friends begin the perilous hunt for the Horcruxes, but must keep their close ones out of it. Not saying the Dursleys were the most important people on Potter's mind, but his selflessness wouldn't have wanted them hurt. Instead of just rushing them out, Aunt Petunia had one last conversation with Harry that really moved us.
I lost a sister.
For the first time, she had an actual moment where we could really sympathize with the pain she felt once Lily Potter passed away. The final cut of both Deathly Hallows movies never gave her character an actual human moment, and gave her a little reason as to why she was always so bitter about the magical world. Number 10. Filmmakers just really didn't see the point in redeeming any of the Dursleys in the final films, but a little love from Big D would have gone a long way to us.
I don't think you're a waste of space.
Not mentioning the constant bullying Dudley did on Harry for years, this moment between him and Harry even moved the Chosen One. This one tied up a loose end for Harry's childhood, and finally showed an actual sincere moment from Dudley.
See you, Big D.
Number 11. The Weasleys, on the other hand, have always deserved the best care and love from the wizarding world.
You sure you're alright, Harry? Gave us quite a turn.
When Harry and Ron break into the Ministry of Magic in their disguises, they actually were supposed to run into Arthur Weasley. Even in this moment, he still offers his help to Ron's poor character and family, only to be shocked when Harry breaks his disguise to warn Arthur of an impending assassination by Death Eaters.
You know you're being tracked, don't you?
This scene was pretty intense and even added the lovely awkwardness that Ron felt, knowing that if his father found out who he was, he'd probably ground him. It's a shame we didn't get to see this on the big screen, but all that matters is that he was protected in the end. Number 12. There was a little controversy surrounding the sudden and forced romance between Ron and Hermione in the films, but filmmakers could have actually achieved it the right way in Deathly Hallows Part 1. We would have gotten a scene where Ron teaches Hermione how to skip stones, giving them a very romantically charged moment.
So I'm back then.
If they added more scenes like this, don't you think it would have made more sense? Number 13. They should have known Griphook was no good, but they were actually kind of warned before making that deal with him.
He won't be forgiving.
In fact, this scene shows Bill Weasley giving a stern warning to Harry about making a deal with the banker, Griphook, really creating a tense foreshadowing moment that would have kept the audience guessing. We think they did a decent job at hinting at the sinister nature of the character at the beginning of Deathly Hallows Part 2. However, we wish we could have seen a more active role from Bill in Harry Potter's journey. Number 14. We have no more tears for the final scenes of the franchise, and one that will stay in our minds forever is that fateful shot of Lupin and Tonks reaching out to each other after meeting their demise. There was no moment in the final battle that we actually got to see them embrace each other for the last time. Not in the final cut, at least. Tonks wasn't even supposed to fight alongside her husband, but she couldn't stand by as the fate of the world hung in the balance. They both gave each other a heartfelt embrace that would have reverberated in our hearts till the very end. Wish they would have kept this scene in, but it seemed feeling the piercing sadness of loss was the way to go for the final film. Number 15. In this last entry, we saved the best for last, and we are not happy this one was left out. Our truly favorite Draco was destined to redeem himself in the end and throw Harry Potter the wand that would destroy the evil forces. They should have never denied us this moment of Draco's redemption, but unfortunately things went a drastically different way. Shame we couldn't get the big redemption we dreamed of from a Malfoy, but all's well that ends well, we guess. It's quite a shame that we didn't get to see some of these deleted moments in the final cut. We would have seen a lot of loose ends tied up from some of Harry's best friends and worst enemies. Good thing they weren't lost forever. And we can still visit the old Ponzi for them in the meantime. Which deleted scene do you think should have stayed in the final product? Let us know in the comments.